Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our October edition of Council Connections. This is Carolyn Brooks, Director of Community Engagement. We also have a couple of other staff joining us on the call this evening, Jessica Upchurch, as well as Emily Stanley, who is our Director of Program Engagement, as well as our Director of Volunteer Resources that you will hear from both of them later this evening. So I want to say, welcome to everybody on the line and happy Girl Scout New Year as of last Tuesday. We are in our new Girl Scout year, so very exciting things happening already in this Girl Scout year that we're excited about. So we're just going to go ahead and jump right into our agenda this evening because I don't want to keep you all night. So first of all, we're going to do a product program update, and I want to say congratulations to the following service units that have reached their 90% goal and have earned their additional 1% per cookie package sold during the 2020 cookie program. So we have Massac County, Richland County, South Macoupin County, Waterloo, and Service Unit 521, Western Coast, and Cumberland. So I'm clapping, catching me clapping. So kudos to those service units. Kristen wanted me to also share some important dates with our NCM program. Upcoming dates are in a couple of weeks. October 20th, additional order card sales will end at 11:59 p.m. Parent deadline to enter order card sales into M2. October 21st to the 24th, troop leaders will gain access to enter paper order cards at that time into M2, and the leaders will be locked out at 11:59. October 25th through the 27th, service unit product managers order card entry opens up, and then service units will be locked out at the end of that 11:59 p.m. And then on October 27th, girl delivered and direct ship orders in. Parents and leaders at that time do not have to input girl delivered or direct ship orders into M2. These orders will automatically filter through and count towards rewards and proceeds. She also wanted me to note that the above lockout dates, so when I mentioned those lockout times and lockout dates, that does not mean that users, they're only locked out of the system. It only locks or prevents them from putting orders into their order card sales. So again, the lockout dates do not lock users out of the system. It only locks and prevents them from inputting order card sales on those lockout dates and times. October 29th, reward choices are due by 11:59 p.m. And again, November 6th is ACH date and delivery starting the week of November the 11th. Please note that Jessica is monitoring the question log. So if you have questions throughout the course of the evening, our time together, please feel free to drop those questions into the question log and those will be answered. We will try to answer all questions live that are in that log also toward the end of our call. Kelly, if you're ready, we'll have a volunteer resources update.
Good evening. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you just fine.
Okay, great. Well, good evening, everyone. And as Carolyn said, welcome and thanks for being here. From the Volunteer Resources neck of the woods, we want to remind and share some of the upcoming adult learning courses. We have another new leader orientation scheduled for both Glen Carbon and Mount Vernon on October the 29th. We had a really nice session, or actually two, this past month. So we're hoping to see another nice crowd at the end of this month. Camping in, camping out will be coupled with archery with one of our volunteer trainers at Camp Torquay, as you can see on November the 2nd, Saturday. We are offering another blended, so online and in-person CPR first aid and AED training with Miss Lori Carter at our Glen Carbon office. And then I think I might have mentioned this during our last call. We are excited to officially have on the events calendar that we have a canoe training available during the winter. So we are gracious for the support of John A. Logan College in Carterville to offer their facility to us to allow us to have a winter series training for canoeing. That is scheduled for January the 18th. We are trying to plan ahead and just knowing the weather and knowing that it's winter, so we are scheduling February 1st as an alternate date. So in the event there's inclement weather on January the 18th, hopefully we'll have enough nice weather for everyone to visit John A. To complete that training on February the 1st. So we are working with some additional trainers and their schedules are starting to open up. So once we have their availability and we're able to schedule more trainings, our process is to put that on the events page so it can be updated often. And then of course, we'll utilize these platforms to update the service unit managers about upcoming learning courses as well. With the adult awards, I also believe on the last call, we had the chance to survey this group to gather some thoughts about the adult awards. So we appreciate the feedback that we did receive. The committee did agree to move the nomination window to October 1st through December 3rd for the last Girl Scout season. So the 18 through 19 program year. We are waiting for just a slight update on our website to change some verbiage so it's not so confusing for those who might be visiting that page right now. So as soon as that update is made, we'll be making motion to publicize this window a little bit heavier. So we will get something posted in Leaders Lounge and then with some of the monthly e-newsletters that go out. And then of course, working with our community engagement managers and having these conversations and calls to really publicize and promote that we are accepting those nominations. And we are really excited this year and hope to see full representation throughout the entire territory, or all territories throughout the council. So we're really looking forward to hearing some of the great things that our volunteers have done and witnessed. With the camping in manuals, following along on this PowerPoint, we know that some of our service unit managers or some of those service unit teams might have trainers that do offer the camping in training. As you know, this is a free training and it's introducing new troop leaders or those who are needing camping in to some of the great resources that our council has to offer. We did make some slight revisions to the manual. So if you are one that tends to do this training, the request is that you please send in a case or a message to customer care to request some hard copies of this update. We can also send it through a PDF, but we will be happy to print these copies for you. Again, we just ask that you send a quick message to customer care, and that will then be assigned to me, so I'll know who needs the manual updates and how many. So if you would please supply that information too. With that, I also want to share that this manual will be going through another revision, as will more than likely the camping out manual too. So just when you are requesting those camping in manuals, please be mindful that in the near future it will get another revision. So if you don't need a whole bundle of them, that's great. We'll get you the whole bundle once we feel like we have a true final revised portion of that. Moving on to CPR, there will be a message going out in the next e-newsletter, the monthly highlight, as well as some information on our website being updated and being communicated through Leaders Lounge. And the long and short of the update is through GSUSA, we are shifting some of our approved providers list. So the message is, and I believe there'll be a PDF being sent to you so you can see this in writing, that we are moving to support this approved list by GSUSA starting October 1st. So if somebody has a current certification from a vendor or provider that's not on this list, we are still wanting and will be honoring that certification. We're just simply asking that once they're ready to renew, that they'll make sure that they are using this approved provider list. And then just know that Lori and some of our other team members are certified to bring these trainings to you and your service unit through a training by request, or Lori is doing a really nice job making sure that there's plenty of opportunity throughout the fall and spring for anybody who needs to renew. So again, the full language will be emailed to you after tonight's conversation, so you can see all the conversation and language supporting that slight shift. But we are taking influence from GSUSA's approved provider. And then I believe the last thing on the list are the short and snappies. And your community engagement managers will be sharing with possibly you this month, not one, but 2 short and snappy training sessions. So they are just quick, topical type of conversations, short trainings that are going to encourage conversation with you and your group. I know one of them, for example, is going to be conversation about Juliet Gordon-Lowe's birthday coming up at the end of this month. So it will be conversation for the service unit teams and troop leaders to have, but also will allow the troop leader to walk away with an activity to help bring conversation to the girls and have some fun celebrating with them too. So please be on the lookout with your community engagement managers that there should be 2 short and snappies coming your way. And that's my update, but I'm happy to see if there's any questions that I can help answer. And again, several of these attachments will come to you after this call is concluded.
Okay, thanks, Kelly. Thanks so much. If we have no other questions that we're going to bring open at this time, I'm going to hand the mic over to Emily Stanley.
There we are. Hey guys, how are you tonight? Thanks for having me. So real quick, I only have a couple of things. There is the link for the compass. Those of you who have been around the council for a little while know that that name is a throwback. So we're super excited about our first edition of our digital program guide or flip book. So we've seen some comments on it, and we are taking everything into consideration for the next flip book, which will be out in January, and we'll have February through summertime program opportunities. This is in addition to the camp guide, which will still be a physical publication that'll be mailed out over Christmas. So something to look forward to. The other things I had on my list, one of the things you're going to receive after this call is concluded is a fantastic resource that we co-opted from another council. And as many of you know, new badges came out in July. And sometimes those kind of get scattered to the 4 winds and you don't know what badges we have because they've been added and moved around. So this new thing is going to be a nice badge list, and it's organized by the pillars. So if you're not familiar with that, that's the STEM, outdoor, life skills, and entrepreneurship. So the badges are organized by pillar, and it's got every single badge on one side, and on the other side are all the other earned awards. For instance, the Service to Girl Scouting, the My Faith, My Promise, My Faith pins. And we also were able to edit this document thanks to our Marcom team and add our council patch programs. So this is hopefully a document that you're going to be able to look at and see all the badge and patch earning opportunities that are available to girls. So we're really excited about that. That is also on our website. I just don't have the link in front of me, but that's going to be something that is going to be emailed to you after this presentation. Another thing I want to mention is we are in preliminary planning for a council trip to Girl 2020 in Orlando. That is October 21st through 25th. We are still working out some details to give you cost and deadlines and that sort of thing, but I want you guys to kind of be aware of that. It's going to be a very exciting meeting. They've got a lot of side trips planned, I think GSUSA does, so we're going to try and get a total package together and get that out to you as soon as possible. The last thing I was going to mention is we were very excited last January to be funded by Google to fund our mobile STEM program. It's called, we're just calling it Mobile STEM, but it's called STEM Mobility to Opportunity is the name of the program. And I wanted to make sure I was clear on the purpose of this program is to expand our current program offerings in regards to the STEM pillar. This is not program on demand necessarily. We're just looking to get outside of the traditional 2 counties, 3 counties that we have that we've been able to serve with the STEM program. So it's not a program that we're going to, sorry. It's not a program we're going to be able to take to and serve exclusively service units. Sorry. She was so quiet until now. So it's not a program that's going to serve exclusively a service unit. It is a program intended to serve the entire council, but be more regionally accessible to girls. So that's about all I have before my toddler starts yelling again.
All right, thanks so much. Again, if you have questions, please throw them into the question log, and Jessica will, again, is monitoring that and can answer those questions for you, as well as Kelly and Emily have mentioned. There will be several handouts that will go out with the recording of this session on later this week. Hopefully by Wednesday of this week, we will have the recording out, as well as the handouts that you'll have. Just an update with community engagement, a membership update. I'm very excited to report that we are at 5,266 girls for traditional troop girls. That's 1,127 new girls, 4,139 renewed girls. So again, I want to say a huge kudos to the service units that are already at or over 90% to their membership year 2020 girl goal as of today. I mentioned the service units that had reached that goal by last week, but as of today, in addition to the service units that I mentioned before, Massac County, Richland County, South Macoupin, Waterloo, and Western Coast, one additional service unit that's already there at that 90% is also Wayne White Hamilton. And again, that's as of today. Overall, we are 70% to our membership year 2020 girl goal. So I encourage everyone, we are just so excited to keep recruiting and renewing those girls and adult volunteers. Again, we want to recognize our service unit managers that are utilizing Looker with our Looker's Big Three. So for this past month, we have Heather King, Service Unit 90, West Williamson, Christy Connolly again in the top 3, Service Unit 109, Troy St. Jacob, as well as Michelle Gloskick, which is Service Unit 207, Bevel Swansea. So again, those are our Big Three that are utilizing Looker. The next thing that I have, let me see, hold on just a second here. Okay, Bring a Friend events. 2 things going on. Last month I mentioned some council level Bring a Friend events that we have. The ones that are still upcoming that have not approached deadline yet are the When I Grow Up event that is now in Heron. It was reported last month at a different location, but again, that's in Heron. Next month, the Women's Hockey and Skate, that'll be in O'Fallon next month as well. And then the Holiday Search Party that's going to be in St. Louis in December. We are also extending this same council level Bring a Friend incentive to the service units. So for the months of October and November, if your service unit is having a service unit event, we are encouraging our service units to make those events Bring a Friend events. So girls can invite friends to events you may be having for Julia Garland's birthday or anything like that. Make those events that you're already on your calendar, already service unit scheduled events, to make those events Bring a Friend events. All you have to do is contact your community engagement manager to obtain interest cards and Bring a Friend patches so that you can make your already established events Bring a Friend events. I want to talk a little bit about troop representation at service unit meetings. Please remember that each of your troops should be represented at your monthly service unit meetings. If you have troops that are not represented, please reach out to these troops, the troop leadership, to determine what support is needed for this troop. You can ask troops to send co-leaders or parents to service unit meetings. There's just vital information that obviously is shared at your monthly service unit manager meetings. The same holds true for your monthly service unit meetings. Just like we ask you all to be here at your service unit manager meetings, and we want your leaders to be at your service unit meetings. We want to ensure they are receiving the support they need for their troop, and also have the opportunity to share and network with other leaders and volunteers in the service unit. Again, like I said, I mentioned earlier that I will be sharing quite a few handouts that will come your way following the presentation on this evening. One of those will be a social issues frequently asked questions document. As we know, every so often we do get questions or concerns from the community regarding Girl Scouts and various social issues. So I wanted to include in our meeting follow-up, like I said, an email. It's going to be a reference of frequently asked questions and answers, obviously, to be used to present so that we can have a consistent message in our various communities regarding our Girl Scout movement. Please be mindful that you should direct any media inquiries to our communications team via our customer care. But again, these are just some quick responses to questions that you may receive that's related to some of the social issues and the Girl Scout movement. Speaking of that, I just want to kind of share a small little story that happened to me that made me start thinking about what we do in Girl Scouting and having being inclusive in our Girl Scout organization. I was working with another youth organization, and this was an organization actually that was in my hometown. I kind of went to sign my daughter up for a session, and the greeting that I received was somewhat lukewarm, but fortunately I knew a couple of the parents, a couple of the staff that were attending. But what I found that was throughout the course of my experience and my daughter's experience, we got a sense of what we were calling exclusivity. And it was really nothing overt, but it was just some of the language that was used and some of the assumptions that were made because you had families that had been a part of this organization for some time. But it really got me to thinking about our experience as Girl Scouts and how welcoming we are in our Girl Scout family. So this is something that I want all of us to kind of be mindful of and sensitive to, that we don't have our girls or volunteers or parents feeling like we did with our experience earlier this year with another youth serving organization. I know sometimes we, again, within Girl Scouts, we have our acronyms, and we have this Girl Scout language that we use, and someone new coming in may not feel as welcome or part of the organization when we are doing certain things that, like I said, it's comfortable for us or we're accustomed to it, but if you're a new person coming in, it may not be the comfort level for you. So I just wanted for us to be mindful of that, particularly at this time of the year as we're welcoming new families into Girl Scouts. Background checks, this is just a quick follow-up to our discussion around background checks from last month. please remember that you all are the eyes and ears within your community. You may see or have information, get information in regards to a potential volunteer. We want you to please bring that information to our attention. We will always do our due diligence to determine if there is anything founded or not with that information. So again, we encourage you to make sure that you provide that information for us if you have it or are privy to it. The last thing for this is I want to talk a little bit about Super Saturday. So this will be an awesome adult learning event that is actually sponsored by Service Unit 544, which is the Girl Scouts of Crawford and Jasper County, and they are opening this event up to the entire council. They will have breakout workshops for the grade levels. They will have breakout workshops for the journeys, for VTK, as well as camping in session and other mentoring workshops for Girl Scout adults. The cost is only going to be $3 to cover lunch. And again, as mentioned before, there's going to be a flyer with all of this registration and contact information that will come out in follow-up email. This is just a reminder about the date for annual meeting has been announced. Again, no location. And then the reminder about the town hall meetings that are coming up this month. October 19th at Wasatoga and in Glen Carbon, and then the following Saturday, October 26th at the Girl Scout Little House, as well as in Marion at the Boy Scout Lodge. So if your delegates, alternates have not planned to attend that, please make sure that they have that information and have it on their calendars to attend. Last thing is some shop news I want to share that Katie has given us to share. All of this month, the month of October, the special that she has running is if you buy your adult vest with insignia, which is the American flag, council ID, volunteer badge, you will receive a free heat press. As a bonus to this purchasing of your adult vest, you can also get the Girl Scouts of Southern Illinois Leader gift set for 25% off. And there's a nice picture of what that gift set entails. So again, this is for the month of October. I do know also that Katie will have a special promotion toward the end of this month for Julia Gordon Lowe's birthday week as well. The Say Yes to the Vest is going very successfully, and we are really, really excited about it. We are seeing lots of pictures. Girls are out in the community in uniform, and so we want to make sure if you need more patches, just let us know. Again, this is to have girls, more girls, all girls out in our community with their uniforms, so people know that Girl Scouts is alive and well in their community. So again, if you need more patches, you can reach out to your community engagement manager, and she will be able to get more patches for you. Friendly reminder about the shop hours. Again, extended hours in the Glen Carbon shop on Wednesdays. The shop is open from 10 to 4 on Fridays, and also the first Saturday of the month, as well as Juliet's Closet. The regular schedule for Juliet's Closet is scheduled to be in Mount Vernon. So Juliet's Closet, the mobile shop, is in Mount Vernon each second and fourth Tuesday of the month from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. The other reminder is we want, again, to just have another reminder for you and relates to how you can have the mobile shop come to your event. There is a link, there is a live calendar on the website for you to see the dates that are available. You can request that the mobile shop come to your event. What we are finding is Katie has been very successful with the mobile shop at recruitment events. And so she's wanting to get out to your service unit events. So events where there are girls and parents and families joining you. And so those events, she wants to be out with the shop to be able to provide Girl Scout product, uniforms, merchandise for those parents and girls. So please think about that as you're planning your service unit events, as you have some of the bring a friend with the new incentive we have for this month, for October and November. If you're having those events, and now you're going to make them bring a friend events, also have the mobile shop there. So go out on the calendar, put your information in so that Katie can bring the mobile shop to your event. The last thing I think as it relates to the mobile shop has to do with our Girl Scout trademark licensing and branding. The Girl Scouts name and trademark, not limited to, including but not limited to the trefoils, and also our profile logos are owned by Girl Scouts of the USA. The use of these, as we all know, cannot be used without permission. So this information is in our Blue Book. Troop service units, volunteers do not have permission to create any kind of product for sale using GSofSI intellectual property, as it's called, which includes obviously our Girl Scout trademarks. It's come to our attention just here recently where people have been using the Girl Scout trademarks and selling products, which again, that's something that you have to go through a licensed vendor to be able to do that. We do have a list of licensed regional vendors, but you can always contact Katie if you have any questions about what you can and cannot do as far as the Girl Scout logo, the trademark, licensing, and our branding. Now we're on to questions. Jessica, I don't know if you want to unmute yourself and throw out any questions and answers that may have come up in the chat log tonight.
So we have had 0 questions. Hi, everyone. We've had 0 questions come into the question log so far this evening. I do not see anyone's hand raised, but if anyone would like to ask a question out loud to the group, now would be a perfect time for you to raise your hand, and then I can unmute you. So we'll give you just a moment. Okay, I do see that Heather King has a question. Let me unmute her. Heather, I have unmuted you on my side. It does say that you are self-muted, so you may have to unmute yourself on your end.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, I have a question about CPR, which I know they'll be sending out the list later, but there's already been questions in this unit about particularly we have multiple nurses and even a doctor, and they're wondering if they have count additional CPR training to with these changes that are coming out. If my work training is not on one of the approved lists, does that mean I need to pay for double training then, basically, because it's not on the Girl Scout approved list?
So Heather, let me make sure I understood because your phone was breaking out a little bit, and we can have Kelly respond to that. Your question is if you have volunteers that are medical professionals, so doctors, nurses, EMT that already have first aid CPR training, correct?
Correct.
But they're not on this new approved provider listing. Would they have to have another training and pay for another training? Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, Kelly?
Great question. Thank you for helping clarify, Carolyn. So on the website right now, there is, I believe the language is there and it is current. As we know, there are physicians, physician assistants, nurses, I'm just reading the list, practitioners, RNs, LPNs, paramedics, military medics, and EMTs. They would already probably have their advanced first aid training. What GSA is also requiring then is that they just be able to prove that they have a CPR AED card with that. And for everybody, the CPR AED needs to show that it's supporting children too, youth. So the answer is not necessarily. So they would have their training because of that license. We would just need to couple that with the CPR AED certification card.
Okay, which they actually, I would think, like I know for me, I have CPR training at work. I didn't have first aid training. It wasn't required. So I did have to go get that training for GSSI. So my thought is they should have these, but at least I have a better understanding of what to tell these leaders when they do ask these questions. So
thank you, and we're happy to, so this will be a shift for us too to navigate through that, and we want to be as helpful as we can to everyone just to help with this transition. So if there are more questions, please feel free to send them our way. We'll be happy to do some research and give you a good answer.
okay, that sounds good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
There any other questions?
It looks like Phyllis has her hand raised. So Phyllis, I have unmuted you on our side.
Hey, thanks. Just questioning if we have been trainers, facilitators in the past, can we do things such as camping in, camping out on a local basis rather than going through council to try to find a location?
I can answer that question as well. Again, this is Kelly speaking. Can you hear me?
I can.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, great. And thank you for your email. I was just coming back from some personal time out, Phyllis. I did see your email come across today.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for the question. So one thing that we are working on from our department is truly formalizing a train the trainer process. So with my year being with Girl Scouts of Southern Illinois, and really the limited history that I have, I'm not really clear as to how trainers that exist today became trainers. So one of the things that I'm working on with some volunteers is truly trying to come up with a strategic plan where everyone who becomes a trainer goes through this process and gets the same language and expectations. So that's still a work in progress.
Yeah, I understand that. We did have formal training prior.
Okay. Okay. So Phyllis, I'll probably follow up with you in an email to ask more about that too. Just because with the program that's currently being developed, it's going to talk a lot more about adult learning theory, public speaking, and then just up-to-date processes of, you know, how you reserve a camp and what to request from training materials and what to do with the sign-in sheet before and after, or even during your training. So there's new up-to-date I guess procedures would probably be the best way to define that we want to make sure that everyone who is delivering some training has that information. So to answer your question, there hasn't been a big decision or much of a decision made about people who have already, if they would be grandfathered in, if you will. I think one of the things that we want to make sure is that they are up to date with the materials to request and how to request them and what to do with the sign-in sheet before and after. So just to bring everybody up to speed so that way everyone is getting, is on the same page with that. So
Okay,
that
thank
might
you.
be the best answer, but I'm happy to help further explain that to you if you want to connect later, Phyllis.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And thanks for training. We appreciate it.
Any other questions? Hands raised?
This is Jessica. I do not see any other hands raised right now, and no questions in the questions log.
Okay, well, if no other questions, again, please know that the recording of this session, as well as what is turned out to be several handouts, will be coming to you in email later this week. And a friendly reminder that our next Council Connections, our next time together, will be the first Monday in November, which is November 4th. So have a great October. I hope to get out to some service unit meetings this month to see some of you as well. So again, have a great October, and we will talk to you soon. Thanks for being here tonight. Good night.